Jeremy Clarkson was the BBC goose that laid the golden eggs.
Obviously, my original plan of simply bolting a very large...
An enormously successful programme with a huge public following. It has an audience of 6 million on BBC Two, a global audience of 350 million in 214 countries, generating £50 million in annual revenues for BBC worldwide. There are very few BBC bananas as big as Top Gear. But with success came status, a sense of invincibility and a penchant for crossing all sorts of lines. To say Top Gear and its host were not PC somewhat understates the
I'm not going to
case.
get any complaints about this, because the Mexican embassy, the ambassador's going to be sitting there with a remote control like this. They won't complain. It's fine. It's a hard job. Change gear, change gear, change gear, check your mirrors, murder a prostitute, change gear, murder, check your... That's a lot of effort in it.
Fiona, could you give me a push?
And so it was that the BBC's Big Banana began delivering not just tasty fruit, but some increasingly slippery skins.
She has got quite a nice bottom.
We knew Clarkson had been involved in a fracas with his producer Oisin Timon, but we only learned the details of what had actually happened today. The BBC report really does not make pretty reading. A sustained verbal haranguing using abusive and derogatory language that lasted 20 minutes, in the midst of which there was a 30-second physical attack which resulted in the producer visiting A&E. Once it became clear that this is what had actually happened, BBC bosses really had little choice but to act. And Jeremy Clarkson's goose was almost certainly cooked.
Physical violence accompanied by prolonged verbal abuse has crossed the line. And that's why, with regret, I decided this morning that we will not be renewing Jeremy's contract.
But parting company with Clarkson, necessary as it might have become, is not without its issues. For a start, there are the million signatories to the petition launched by blogger Guido Fawkes.
I think in the executive suite and all the North London Liberal pinkos that you have on the top floors of the BBC, they were out to get him, and they got him. They had a good reason. He should have been punished, Jeremy, but there's a question of proportionality. You know, my office Christmas party ended up in a punch-up. We didn't close the operation down. You know, the two guys next day looked a bit sheepish, apologised, one sent the other a bottle of something. That's how it should have been done. Or maybe, like, you know, when Premier League footballers have a punch-up, they earn about the same amount as Jeremy Clarkson. They should have fined him, you know, 6 months' wages or something.